Hello and welcome to your election breakdown. This is the Election Zone and I'm your host today, Cole Deacon. On this show we break down the facts about the upcoming federal election, and today we're talking about Ontario specifically, how many ridings there are in Ontario and who has dominated those ridings in the past. We'll also be taking a look at who each party is targeting in these ridings and why. First, we're going to head down to check in with Kasia Cassidy with all the analytics. Kasia, break down for us what's currently happening here in Ontario.
Thanks, Cole. Since our last update, the national polls haven't changed much. The NDP is still trailing the leading Liberals and Conservatives after their gradual slide in Quebec. A recent poll shows that the Liberals are surging in Ontario and British Columbia, while maintaining their lead in the Atlantic. As you can see as of right now, the Liberals and Conservatives are neck and neck at 34% and 36%, and the NDP is about 10 points behind them. A recent Angus Reid poll looked more closely at the GTA, breaking it up into the City of Toronto and the suburban 905 area. In Toronto, the main competitors are the NDP and the Liberals. But in suburban Markham, Brampton, and Mississauga, the NDP trails badly in what's essentially a Conservative-Liberal race. The Conservatives are sitting high at 43%, the Liberals with 36%, and the NDP at only 19%. Now, let's take a look at how these numbers are broken down into ridings. The number of ridings in Canada is up by 30 this election, and half of those new ridings are in Ontario. All told, Ontario has more than a third of the nation's ridings, and the Greater Toronto Area has about 1/6, making the region a key battleground. That's it for me. Back up to you, Cole.
Thanks, Kasia. Now, to make sense of what all that means, we have Arthur White here to explain with more detail. Hi, Arthur. How has Ontario voted in the past, and how have patterns of support changed?
Well, if you look back as recently as 2006, the entire GTA was painted Liberal red. But the Conservatives started making small inroads into the suburbs in 2008. In 2011, the Liberals collapsed across the whole region, holding 7 seats in Toronto and only 1 in the rest of the GTA, with most of downtown going NDP orange and all the rest of the suburbs Tory blue. And that was really key to the Conservative majority. They managed to bring in the GTA's immigrant community, or most of it, previously a solid Liberal constituency. Both the Liberals and the Conservatives are now fighting over New Canadians, and whoever wins will have a good chance of sweeping the GTA suburbs.
Now, I want to know, are there any ridings that we should keep a close eye on this time around?
All 3 ridings close to Ryerson, actually. Toronto Centre, University Rosedale, and Spadina Fort York all promise to be tight NDP Liberal races. Since they've all been redrawn for this election, all of them will be hard to predict. In Spadina Fort York, Olivia Chow, who became a professor at Ryerson this year, is facing off against Adam Vaughan, a popular Liberal MP and former city councillor. Further west, Etobicoke Centre was one of the closest races nationally in 2011, with just 6 votes separating the Liberal and Conservative candidates after a court challenge. But with the Liberals polling much higher than in 2011, I'd expect this one to go red. There's 2 cabinet ministers who might be in danger. The Immigration Minister, Chris Alexander, won by a few thousand votes in his Ajax riding last election. But his handling of the Syrian refugee crisis has come under criticism. Finance Minister Joe Oliver's Eglinton Lawrence riding is also one to watch. Back to you, Cole.
Thanks, Arthur, and that's a wrap for this election breakdown. I'm Cole Deacon. Be sure to keep an eye out for our next episode later this week.